we have a very special guest. His name is Jim Loveless, an award-winning author and incredible storyteller. Jim was born in Washington, D.C. and grew up in Maryland. And we were talking about that in our right before our interview started because of my love also of that area, especially when I talk about my days in Bethany Beach, Delaware. He has always been a man of many interests, from sports and architecture to creative writing, even dog training. Funny enough, it was actually his college English instructor who first spotted his gift for storytelling. After a long and successful 50-year career in the electrical contracting, Jim decided to fulfill a personal promise to share his father's powerful World War II story. The result is an amazing book, Avoiding Muddy Foxholes, a story of an American bombardier. It's a moving blend of history, legacy, and love. And I'm so excited to welcome Jim to the program to talk about this more and all the awards you've won and everything. But thanks for stopping by.
Well, thank you very much, Neil, for having me. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.
So let's talk about Jim, when you first set out to tell your father's story in Avoiding Muddy Foxholes, what was the moment that made you realize this was something you had to share with others?
Well, there wasn't any really defining moment because I basically grew up with the story as a kid and having grown up in the 60s, all kids played Army and so forth. So being aware of my father's story, I knew that that was something that needed to be shared. So I finally got down to business on Father's Day, 1972, just after I had graduated from high school. And I thought there was really no better gift to give my father than the promise to never let his story be forgotten. So I would say that's probably the main defining uh, moment that I wanted to get it actually told. Unfortunately, our careers and everything got in the way. And it wasn't really until, unfortunately, after his passing in 2003 and my retirement in 2020 that I set out to actually gather all the information that I had and started writing. And 2.5 years later, the book was finally published, and here I am.
Exactly. Here you are. And there's a lot of work. Did you have any experience writing before this opportunity to write this book?
Not really. I mean, just in college, I had an English teacher that evidently liked the stories that I used to write. I'm not going to vouch for my grammar, but she loved the stories. And she encouraged me to keep writing. So over the years, I would write little short stories and things, but never really did anything with them. So really, most of the writing that I ever did was writing specifications for electrical jobs, and that kind of put reading books and everything on the back burner for me. Not until I guess Audible came around or audiobooks that I started to really get into reading and then learning how to write. And then I just started doing it. And I had a good editor in my son who edits books, and we were able to pull it off.
Your dad started out with a pretty solid plan before the war. He was training to be an electrician and had a relationship with Mary Lou. How did those early dreams and experiences shape how he dealt with the chaos of war once it began?
Well, I guess after high school, yeah, they were when they graduated, they met in high school. They had romantic dreams and, to become married someday and um, plan for a family, and that was something that they talked about quite a bit. But unfortunately, a war got in the way. And my father, rather than being drafted and having foresight, decided to enlist. And hopefully, he wanted to get a choice of where he wanted to go. They wound up putting him in the coastal artillery, and he wound up coming home from leave after boot camp and proposing to my mother, which happened to be December 7th, 1941. And we all know what happened there.
No doubt.
Yeah. So all their plans that they had made, they kept them in the back of their head, but they had to go to what they call Plan B. And that was during my father's training. He sent for her to come out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he was training to be a bombardier. And from there, when he graduated from bombardier school and became a second lieutenant, they got married, and she followed him through his all the remainder of his training until he was shipped out to Europe. So
Wow. Yeah.
they had a plan, and but like I say, they had to go to Plan B and maybe even Plan C and D in time.
And this happened to a lot of relationships
Oh
when this
yes,
happened.
yeah.
And what you learned is specifically enough that you had to drop everything, especially if you were called.
Yes, yes, and that's basically what he did or they did, and fortunately, he had the support of his parents. They didn't necessarily 100% agree with it, but they supported the decisions they made, and in time, they turned out to be the right decisions.
The title Avoiding Muddy Foxholes feels like it speaks to the mental and emotional side of war. How did your father manage to keep his head above the chaos, both on the battlefield and in his mind?
Well, he had one thing that he usually kept in his mind. He was brought up Catholic in Washington D.C., and he had strong faith. And the one thing that I guess kept him going and got him to avoid that muddy foxhole is he happily told his recruiter when they asked him why he wanted to become a flyboy. Um, the thing that he believed in was don't sweat the details and don't sweat what you can't handle. Let the good Lord handle that. And you just concentrate on the things that you can deal with. And that's basically what got him through many, many times.
Right. Definitely sounds like it. And it's like, I mean, I couldn't imagine that. And your relationship with your father when he had to go through those stressors, was that difficult at times? Did he observe any PTSD from the
No,
experience?
no, not really. He was a
Mm,
modest man, and he didn't talk about it. Really, he didn't really talk about it to anybody until after he retired and started going to the different reunions and rekindling old friendships. But as far as anything from lasting, he took the whole experience as a job he had to do. And I mean, I asked him many times, why aren't you telling this story to people? You should, people should know about this. And he said, I don't talk about my job, do I? And that was how he viewed it. It was a job he had to do, and it was done, and he was moving on.
that's wild
Yeah.
in so many ways. That's unbelievable to think about an experience and how he was able to handle those things so well. And it would be interesting to study what was the difference that didn't lead to having those trauma that a lot of other veterans have.
Mhm.
One mission in particular stands out in the book, Richard's sixth bombing mission over Stuttgart. Can you walk us through that experience and what it revealed about his inner strength and faith?
Oh yeah, that this sixth mission was probably the most feared mission back in 1943 of all bomber crews, because at that time that was about as far as they were going before they got shot down and either captured or even killed. So the sixth mission, up to that point, the other five that they flew were known as milk runs. And basically, they were bombing insignificant targets and targets, what they called of opportunity. So they didn't get the fierce resistance of the German Luftwaffe that they did on what they used to call maximum effort raids. The sixth mission was their first um, mission that was considered a maximum effort mission. And what that meant was the Allies set up everything they had to attack the target. Well, the Germans returned the favor and would send up everything they had to keep them from doing that. This particular mission was the deepest penetration into Germany that the 8th Air Force had flown to that date. And they were very, very nervous about it because the length of the mission, their planes did not have what they called Tokyo tanks, which allowed them to fly longer distances. So the 388th Bomb Group, which his bomb group was, only had enough fuel to be able to pass over one, possibly two passes over the target before they had to either revert to their secondary target or just abort the mission and go home. Unfortunately for them, there was a general or a colonel that was a hotshot and was trying to make a name for himself back then. And he was the one that commanded the mission. And his bomb groups had Tokyo tanks. So they were able to fly 3, maybe even 4 passes over the target. So when they got to the target, they learned that they couldn't bomb it. The Germans had put what they called smudge pots to disguise the target. In addition, the weather didn't cooperate, and they had miserable cloud cover, so they couldn't identify the target. So the 388th, because they couldn't make another pass, they went and bombed the secondary target, which was in Strasbourg. While the rest of the formations wound up having to fly 4 times around the target before they were able to bomb it. And even those planes, a lot of them didn't make it back. My father's bomb group, almost half of their planes never made it back. So what happened was, on their way to Stuttgart to bomb that target, the plane was attacked by flak, which the flyers dreaded more than anything. And they were hitting the right wing and wound up losing fuel, which compounded their problem. They couldn't even make it to the secondary target. So they decided to hit the deck, as they said, and fly to France, where their chances of surviving, if they had to bail out with the French, was a lot better than with the Germans, because the German citizens were known to lynch American pilots when they landed in their territory. So fortunately, he was able to escape the plane, but not after he had injured his leg bailing out. 5 of his crew members went down with the plane in a town called Champigny in France. My father landed in a field and was brought in by a family, the Bouchy family, which took him into their home and kept him until the Germans found out that he was being held up there. My father, not wanting to be responsible or giving any harm to the town, forced them to give himself up, and he wound up in a POW camp, Stalag Luft 3, which was, everybody knows, or a lot of people know, that that was where the Great Escape took place. So that was pretty much the result of that 6th mission that they greatly feared. Not only that, it was the 6th day of the month, and that just kind of added to the derision.
It definitely did. Oh my gosh. I mean, I start thinking about this, and and I'm feeling it. I'm like, are you really kidding me? What he went through, and how amazing of a hero he is. He's a hero to you, isn't he?
Oh, he by no stretch of the imagination. He What he did, not only giving himself up, which the town never forgot. He also had to survive his broken leg, survival in a POW camp. He wound up while he was playing in a poker game. He wound up coming down with appendicitis, of which he had to trust German doctors to operate on him. He survived that, and then no sooner than that was all behind him, the Russians pressed east to, or pressed west, and the Germans picked up camp and marched all the prisoners across Poland, which was actually at that time occupied Germany, and to Nuremberg, over 600 miles in the worst winter that Europe had seen in decades. And he survived that to finally come home.
My father is my hero as well. He passed away about 5, 6 years ago. He was in the military, graduated from the Naval Academy, second in the Naval Academy, served under Admiral Rickover, and in the Navy for X amount of years. And he was a engineer, consultant, slash, got brainiac. Went to MIT as well, and so I understand. I have to write a book about my father at one point in time, and you're giving me inspiration for what you've done to
Uh,
take the time and write this.
yes, that's amazing. Was he in the submarine,
Yes,
Rickover?
served it. Yes,
That
yeah.
was,
Under I'm a Rickover, and he has a story of he drove the submarine and did it wrong and never did it again because he like crashed or something. I don't know. He has some story about that. He's
yeah,
told me. Who knows if it was a true story or not? The guy was an absolute genius. Imagine being number two in the Naval Academy in 19. He graduated from the Naval Academy in 1949. So
wow,
yeah.
wow. That, you got to send me the title. I want to read that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna come. And
Okay.
thank goodness I have can use a lot of the research to tell about his life and a lot of different things because we have a lot of the resources available to him. And looking at it's too bad he never wanted to hang out with any of his classmates or any of the people. I don't know how many people were even alive from like even his high school, Scroon Lake, New York, Scroon Lake High School. So there you go. All right. So that was my little piece to see how we're connected in some
Oh,
way,
yeah.
at least in that way, about our fathers being such heroes of ours.
Yes.
All right. So
Those
war,
stories
yeah,
that should never be forgotten, believe me.
no doubt. War changes people. How did Dick cope with the emotional weight of everything that went through? Even though, even especially when he came home, was it hard for him to adjust back to civilian life after such a traumatic experience? We talked a little bit about this, but more this is the transition period
Yeah.
versus your age once he had you and stuff.
Well, when he was liberated by Patton's army back in early April, he was transitioned to a uh, recruitment uh, camp. And there, between there and then when he was sent home, was sent to a place to basically cool down. That was what he called his cool down period. And he was able to put a lot of that stuff behind him. I mean, it was over 2.5 months before he was able to be reunited with my mother. And so that was a good amount of time for him to basically push those bad times behind him, particularly the loss of a gentleman that he always claimed saved his life. He was a trapper from Minnesota and a survivalist. And he and my father played bridge in POW camp, and they became close friends. And my father, being a city slicker, he knew nothing about surviving in the winter. And this gentleman, his name was Reds Ford, helped him with surviving this terrible ordeal. Unfortunately, on the prisoner march, he was helping another prisoner with a bundle of letters that had fallen out of his pack and fell behind. And a German soldier wound up shooting him and leaving him behind, and he wound up dying. My father didn't know that until his trip over back to the States, and he found out, and it really affected him very, very much. But again, he had that cooling down period where he could put all this behind him and then start pushing the things he was looking forward to. That was seeing his wife, seeing his daughter that was born while he was overseas, and also his dream for getting back on the golf course, which was his first love.
See, wow. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. So he had interests. He was smart when he
Yeah.
got back. He
Yes.
knew he had to develop interests. He
Mhm.
knew he had to have certain things. I think the people who have the most difficulty transitioning really don't have a purpose when they come home.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. I've talked to a lot of veterans over the years, particularly from Vietnam, and some of the things that they experienced because they didn't have something to fall back on, that left it in their mind to to stew over it over the years, and unfortunately, a lot of the results were tragic.
No doubt. Throughout the book, Richard's faith is such a key theme. How did his faith help him not only survive the war, but also navigate life afterward?
Well, he had great faith, and in his what he was taught was to have faith. You had to believe in God. To believe in God, you had to be devoted to Him and trust in your devotion and be loyal to your convictions. And he did just that. His faith prevailed. And like I said earlier, he kept in the back of his head, only deal with the things that you can control and trust in the Lord that things would work out. He had a plan, and you had to trust that that plan was was what the good Lord wanted for him.
Absolutely. And what the good Lord wanted for him is important because I talked about that purpose. I
Mm-hmm.
talked about that. And did he bring some of that faith to you?
Oh yes, he instilled that to all of us. I had a sister who was, like I said, was born while he was in captivity. Um, she's 10 years older than I am. Myself, I have a middle brother who's 3 years younger than me, and a youngest brother who is 6 years younger. And we were all brought up to believe just that, not necessarily to believe in catechism and all that, but to be true to your conviction and trust in the God.
Absolutely. Such an important thing. And that's what we talk about a lot in transitioning is having that purpose, as we talked about further. Um, in the book, you describe the close bonds between Dick formed with his fellow soldiers. What was the camaraderie like, and how did losing friends in battle affect him?
Well, I guess the best thing he would have said was the best friends that you can have are the ones you don't, because basically what happened was they were here today, gone tomorrow. So if you made really close friends with somebody, um, the next day you could wake up and he wasn't in the bunk because he was shot down, captured, killed, whatever. So they tried to pick and choose the friends that they could basically rely on and basically, befriend with. And most of the friends that he had were really through his training. When he was in bombardier school, one of the gentlemen that he was best friends with, and my mother became friends with his wife. His name was Jim Myers, and he is one of three namesakes that I was named after. Jim Myers, who is my father's best friend, Jimmy Stewart, who Jim Myers was his bombardier, and Jim Loveless, who was my uncle, his youngest brother. So he picked and chose most of his good friends while he was in training. And not to say that he had friends when he was overseas, but he was careful to try to keep things to himself. And they, in turn, tried to do that, not to be cold, but they knew that, the hurt of losing a good friend could affect them in battle. And they had to focus on what they were doing.
We definitely had to focus. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Definitely. And that's the thing. You never know when you're going to lose somebody. What do you think your father would want readers to understand about sacrifices made during World War II? And how does this story help us appreciate the true cost of war?
Well, that's kind of a tough one. Really, I guess a song that Rodney Atkins wrote some years ago probably sums it up the best. And the way the song went was, if you're going through hell, keep on going. If you're scared, don't show it. You might get through hell before the devil even knows that you're there. And basically, that was kind of the summed up what he went through and what I guess he tried to teach us that when times are bad, keep going. Don't let the devil bring you down, and when you get through it, you will be a better person for it.
Yeah. And that's key.
Yes,
A better person and lessons learned.
yes,
So important. You don't have lessons learned. You're not going to have growth in so many ways. And he was a true testament of that.
yes.
Finally, Jim, what do you think is the most important takeaway from your father's life and lessons embedded in his book? What message or insight do you hope readers and listeners will carry from with them after experiencing his story?
Well, much like the song that I related, never quit. Keep going. Have your faith. Trust in it, and it will get you through. And if it didn't, well, the good Lord had a different plan for you, and that was something that you really couldn't control. Just try to control the things that you could, live the best life that you could, have good friends, which he had many good friends. And that's basically, I guess, what he would try to portray to people.
So, Jim, did you become a veteran or did you?
No, I just missed it. I was called in to my physical back just at the end of Vietnam, and they basically suspended the draft. So I had a very low number, and if the war had gone on, I certainly would have gone in, and I probably would have tried to avoid that muddy foxhole my father did, and go into the Air Force. But my father really didn't want me to. He didn't want me to experience what he did. And he basically perpetuated my career in electrical contracting, which was his career. So we basically followed the same footsteps, but not in the service, but in our careers.
Are you still electrical contractor?
I retired back almost 5 years ago, back in 2020. So, I still do a little consulting here and there, but no, I put that, that's gone. I'd rather write and uh, basically talk about my father's experience and other veterans.
All right, Jim. Best place people can go. Where can they go?
Uh, where
Your
can
website? You have a
Oh,
website?
oh yes, yes. That would be jimloveless.com. And I have a website that pretty much tells where my book can be found and some of the experiences that I've had. I actually wrote another book prior to this. It was about my dog. But people liked it, they enjoyed it. So if they want to enjoy that book too, it's there. But this book is the one that I really it's my heart.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks again, Jim, for stopping by, and it was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much, Neil. Have a good
You're
day.
you too. You're listening and watching the Neil